Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu. It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help with only very few, and few really might be somewhere between 15 to 20 ships that the Muslims had, comparing to 500 that the Romans had. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the Muslims the victory over them. And since that time, Romans never thought of attacking Muslims back from that direction. And all of these achievements were during the time of Usman bin Affan radiyallahu anhu. But one of the problems that Usman radiyallahu anhu was facing, that people wanted to compare Usman radiyallahu anhu with Abu Bakr and Omar radiyallahu anhuma. And of course, that's something we all have to see, and we see it very clearly from the ahadith, that Abu Bakr and Umar radiyallahu anhu, in spite of all the greatness of Usman radiyallahu anhu, all the great certificates he has from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but the only thing we can think of saying in this moment and at this time about that situation is, all we can say that Abu Bakr and Umar radiyallahu anhuma, you have to say they came either from different planet, from somewhere else, they were created in Jannah and sent to this world. We don't know what type of people they were, but at least we can understand it from the point that their dust was taken from the same place where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's dust was taken from. They are buried with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it made them something very special. They were something that really, when you read about them, when you look at that part of the history, you have to realize, and every person who will read it and will study those ahadith and will look at the lifestyle of those Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een, will realize that those people were something totally unique and different. And as I mentioned earlier also, when we were talking about Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu, some of these scholars, when they looked at the ahadith, they said the only way we can explain who Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu was, take a mirror and put it in front of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The image of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that you see in the mirror is Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu. He doesn't have the nabuwah. Rest of the thing, all you can see is the same thing exists at the same place. And that is the reason in most of the situations you find Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying something, and Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu at the same time he's sitting at a different place uttering the same exact words. Look at the very simple hadith of Sulh al-Hudaybiyah, which is in Sahih al-Bukhari. Omar radiyallahu anhu said, he was very upset. Why are we going to make a treaty with the kuffar? We should fight them. And he went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, asked him some questions. Then he went to Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu, asked him the same questions. Go back to the hadith. Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu gave exactly the same reply, the same words as Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam had given it to Umar radiyallahu anhu. So these people were something totally different. And Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een, they knew the point. So therefore, again and again, like Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu was considered faqih al-ummah, and people were listening to him a lot. He had a lot of followers because a lot of students, we should say, because he was always teaching people the explanation of the hadith, the fiqh al-hadith. So again and again, repeatedly, he was saying these words that, oh people, after the death of Umar radiyallahu anhu, we did our best, and we know that we succeeded in doing it, that we selected the best person that we knew amongst the Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. But still the people who are out of the group of Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, they still wanted to compare Usman radiyallahu anhu with Abu Bakr and Umar radiyallahu anhuma, and that thing of course was not there. There was a big difference. And Usman radiyallahu anhu again and again used to say that, oh people, don't compare me with Abu Bakr and Umar. He said, if you do that, you will always be disappointed. Because I'm not really comparable to those people. Those people were something off. They were totally of different category. So don't compare anyone else in the ummah with those two people. The first situation Usman radiyallahu anhu faced, going up on the minbar. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam normally used to give the khutbah up on the third step of the minbar. He had 3 steps. On the third step of the minbar, he would stand there and give his khutbah. It was the time of Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu. He thought, I cannot stand at the same place of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So he came down to the second step. So he would always stand on the second step, will not dare to go on the third step. It's the same minbar of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. How can I stand over there? So he came down 1 step. It was the time of Omar radiyallahu anhu. Now you can imagine. Omar radiyallahu anhu said, I cannot even stand where Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu used to stand. Subhanallah. Look at the humbleness of these people. That Umar radiyallahu anhu does not want to go up there. Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu used to stand there. I cannot stand there. And really, when you look at the Quran, when Quran again and again says, مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam came, this Quran came, he's confirming, and this Quran is confirming the previous books. This is a speciality, a special quality of Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam, and of those who follow the steps of Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam. It's not that easy for us to follow it. This is the reason again and again, many times we don't understand why Quran is saying that this is confirming, this deen is confirming the previous deen. Because normally we find it in our day-to-day life, if you get a position, you try to be better than the one who was holding that position, and you always try to put that person down. I'm better than the one who was before me. I can give a better lecture, I can talk better, I can do everything better, I'm a better Muslim. You go to a company, a person becomes a manager, he wants to prove he is a better manager than the one that was before him. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam again and again wanted to remind the people, I'm confirming what those people were saying. So never try to start comparing this with that. That deen was as good as this deen. Those people who followed that deen, they will go to the Jannah the same way these people will go to the Jannah. مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ, always confirming it. When he realized, after reading the story of Yunus alayhi salatu wassalam in Quran al-Kareem, people might say some words about Yunus alayhi salam that are not suitable for Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam, because he left the town without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is specifically using the name of Yunus alayhi salam. He said, لا تفضلوني على يونس ibn Matta. Never say that I'm better than Yunus alayhi salatu wassalam. Why? Although he himself said, I will be the leader of Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam on the day of judgment. I'm the leader of all the human beings in this world also. But he did not want us to move our tongue and say, because of that mistake of Yunus alayhi salatu wassalam, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is better. It's not because of that mistake. The reasons are different. So this is exactly what these Sahaba, great Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in were doing. So Umar radiyallahu anhu came down 1 step. Now it was the turn of Usman radiyallahu anhu, and people are very closely watching him. Where is Usman radiyallahu anhu going to stand? If he comes down, even 1 step further down, so he's not standing in the minbar, he's not using the minbar, so that sunnah is gone away. He will be leaving the sunnah of using the minbar for khutbah. If he goes up on the first step, people say, look, he thinks he's comparable to Umar radiyallahu anhu. He goes on the second, they say, look at him. He goes at the place of Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu. Umar radiyallahu anhu, at the first khutbah that he gave, he went up all the way on the third step. And he said to people that if I would stand on the first one, people will say that I'm trying to be like Umar, comparable to Umar. If I go on the second, people will say that he is trying to be comparable to Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu. I went all the way on the top, so people will know he's only a follower of Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and is not comparable to any of those 3 people. A very wise decision. So Usman radiyallahu anhu, I was saying that this is the thing that he was facing, and occasionally people would go and mention it to him also, and the only reply he had to that, be quiet. When people will say that you're doing this like Umar radiyallahu anhu, like Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu, the only way he had to handle those situations was to be quiet and not to say anything, because he would he also agrees that those people are something that I can never be like those people like Abu Bakr and Umar Radiyallahu Anhu. Because of this, people using this point, they started starting fitnas all around. And especially a person came who was originally a Jew. He was from Yemen. He came to Medina Munawwara, embraced Islam. His name was Abdullah bin Saba. After coming to Medina Munawwara, he started going around with rumors against Usman Radiyallahu Anhu. Look at him, he does this, he does this. But in Medina Munawwara, those people were the people who had seen Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They know what the morals are. They know what the right behaviors are. They know what's good and what's bad. As soon as he started talking about it, every person would tell him, if you want to live in Medina, you better stop spreading rumors. When this person realized he can't do nothing in Medina Munawwara, so he left Medina Munawwara and started going to different towns. Iraq, Egypt, Palestine, all of those countries, and he came with a specific plan. And his background is telling us that he must have some deep plan. So Allahu A'lam what type of Muslim he was and what did he plan by becoming Muslim. But now he's going around, and finally he was able to form a group between Egypt and Iraq. And the demand of that group was Usman Radiyallahu Anhu cannot be the Khalifa because he does not follow the steps of Abu Bakr and Umar Radiyallahu Anhuma. This is where it started from. That was the beginning of that fitna. The fitna continued. And there were deep roots behind these fitnas, and it really affected the ummah very harshly, severely. Inshallah, we will go into somewhat detail of these fitnas and how did it spread, what tools and means did those people use, and what was the response of Usman Radiyallahu Anhu and other Sahaba Ridwanullahi Alayhim Ajma'in to this. Inshallah, we will talk about it in our next sessions. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us the right understanding of deen and give us tawfiq to follow the steps of Sahaba Ridwanullahi Alayhim Ajma'in. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.